Picture this. The people of Israel are in big trouble for 7 long years. The Midianites have been raiding their lands, stealing their crops, and leaving them with nothing. They're scared, they're hiding in caves, and they're desperate. So they finally do what they should have done from the start. They cry out to God for help. And who does God choose to save them? Not a mighty king or a famous warrior. He chooses Gideon, a man from the weakest clan, who calls himself the least in his family. When an angel of the Lord appears to Gideon and calls him a mighty warrior, Gideon's response is basically, "Who? Me? You must have the wrong guy." He's full of doubt and fear, hiding his wheat from the enemy. Does that sound familiar? Sometimes we feel so small and insignificant, but God sees a mighty warrior in us, even when we can't see it ourselves. God's first instruction for Gideon isn't to go to war. It's to tear down his own father's altar to a false god Baal. Before Gideon could fight the enemy outside, he had to deal with the idol inside his own community. It's a powerful reminder. Our biggest battles often start within our own hearts and homes. We have to clear out the things that take God's place before we can experience his victory in our lives. So, Gideon, Abayis, he's still scared, so he does it at night. But he does it anyway, and that act of obedience is a huge turning point. Soon, the Spirit of the Lord comes upon him, and he blows a trumpet to gather an army. An impressive 32,000 men show up, ready to fight. Things are looking up. Right? Wrong. God tells Gideon, "You have too many men." He knows that if they win with such a large army, they'll take the credit for themselves. God wants to make it crystal clear that he is the one delivering them. So, he gives Gideon a very strange command. First, tell anyone who is afraid to go home. And just like that, 22,000 men pack their bags and leave. But God isn't done. He says, there are still too many men. He tells Gideon to take them down to the water to drink. Most of the men kneel down, putting their faces right in the water. But a small group, just 300, stay alert. They cup the water in their hands and lap it like a dog, keeping their eyes up, ready for anything. God says, that's them. Those are your soldiers. Send everyone else home. Can you imagine what Gideon was thinking? It started with 32,000, and now he's down to 300. They're facing an enemy army that's like a swarm of locusts, with camels as numerous as the sand on the seashore. From a human perspective, this is a suicide mission. But this is where faith kicks in. God often shrinks our resources to stretch our faith. He wants us to depend not on our own strength, but completely on his. That night, God gives Gideon a sign to boost his courage. He tells him to sneak into the enemy camp. There, Gideon overhears a Midianite soldier telling his friend about a dream he had. A dream about a loaf of barley bread tumbling into their camp and destroying a tent. His friend interprets the dream, saying, "This can be nothing other than the sword of Gideon. God has given the Midianites into his hands." Hearing this, Gideon's faith is renewed. He bows down and worships God right there. He rushes back to his 300 men, filled with confidence, and says, "Get up. The Lord has given the Midianite camp into your hands. Now for the battle plan." It's maybe the weirdest military strategy in history. No swords, no shields, no spears. Instead, each man is given a trumpet, an empty clay jar, and a torch to put inside the jar. Their instructions are simple. Surround the enemy camp in the middle of the night, and on Gideon's signal, break the jars, blow the trumpets, and shout, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." They do exactly as they're told. At midnight, the silence is shattered by the sound of 300 trumpets blasting and 300 jars smashing, revealing 300 blazing torches. The Midianites wake up in total panic and confusion. In the darkness, they think they're being attacked by a massive army, and they start fighting each other. The chaos is so complete that they flee in terror, and God delivers a massive victory through this tiny, obedient band of men. The story of Gideon isn't just an ancient war tale. It's a story about how God uses ordinary, fearful people to do extraordinary things, It shows us that God's power is made perfect in our weakness. It teaches us that victory doesn't depend on our numbers, our resources, or our strength, but on our obedience and trust in Him. So, now whatever giant you're facing today, whatever impossible odds are stacked against you, remember Gideon, God may be asking you to let go of what you're clinging to for security, so that you can fully depend on Him. Trust His unconventional plan, obey His voice, and get ready to see Him win the battle for you. Thanks for watching, and if this story encouraged you, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. See you next time.